You just unlocked your phone. A notification pings. Your heart quickens slightly. Without thinking, you tap it. This tiny interaction, this moment, just triggered the exact same neural reward pathway that activates when you smoke cocaine or pull the lever on a slot machine. The question isn't whether social media is affecting your brain. The question is, how much damage are you willing to accept? We're living through an unprecedented mental health crisis. Depression and anxiety among teenagers have skyrocketed in the last decade. Suicide risk factors are climbing faster than ever before. And the timing? It's not a coincidence. It aligns perfectly with the moment smartphones became ubiquitous. Today, we're going to examine the neuroscience behind why social media is so dangerous and what researchers have discovered about reclaiming your mind. Let's start with the fundamental mechanism that makes social media so addictive. In 2017, a former Facebook executive named Chamath Palihapitiya stood on a Stanford stage and made a shocking confession. He admitted that platforms like Facebook were deliberately engineered to exploit something primitive in your brain, the dopamine-driven feedback loop. Every like, every comment, every notification, it's weaponized psychology designed to hijack your reward system. Dopamine isn't pleasure itself. That's a misconception. Dopamine is anticipation. It's the neurochemical of wanting. When you post a selfie and wait to see if people like it, dopamine floods your system. Your brain doesn't care if a notification is positive or critical. The uncertainty, the variable reward schedule, is what matters. This is identical to slot machine psychology. You pull the lever not knowing what you'll get, and that unpredictability is more addictive than guaranteed wins. Palihapitiya didn't mince words about the intention. He explained that the engineers and designers at Facebook consciously manipulated these feedback loops to maximize engagement. The platform knows exactly what triggers dopamine release in your brain. It's not an accident that notifications arrive at psychologically optimal moments. It's not a coincidence that the like count is prominently displayed. Every feature is a calculated exploit. The terrifying part? Your brain didn't evolve to resist this. For millions of years, dopamine helped us survive by motivating us to seek food, water, and a social connection. But that ancient reward system was never designed to handle infinite variable rewards delivered instantly at the touch of a finger. You're playing a game your neurobiology cannot win. Here's what the data actually shows. In 2017, researchers publishing in the American Journal of Epidemiology conducted a massive study on Facebook users. They found something alarming. Regular Facebook use was directly associated with significant declines in mental health. But the metric was specific and chilling. For every standard deviation increase in likes, clicks, and status updates, self-reported well-being dropped 5 to 8%. Let that sink in. This wasn't correlation watched from a distance. This was a direct dose-response relationship. The more you engaged with social media, the worse you felt. And we're not talking about a tiny effect. An 8% decline in well-being translates to real psychological suffering. More anxiety, more loneliness, more emptiness. The very platform promising connection was delivering isolation instead. But the crisis goes deeper, especially for teenagers. Psychologist Jean Twenge analyzed data on teen mental health and found a devastating correlation with smartphone adoption. Teens who spend 5 or more hours daily on electronic devices are 66% more likely to have at least one suicide risk factor. That's not a small statistical quirk. That's a massive population-level shift in risk. The timing is what makes this undeniable. Between 2010 and 2015, after smartphones became mainstream among teenagers, depression diagnoses spiked 37%. Self-harm hospitalizations jumped 48%. Suicide attempts climbed 56%. This isn't a gradual cultural shift. This is a sharp break with history. Twinge calls it the sharpest increase in teen depression in generations, and it tracks almost perfectly with the moment everyone got a smartphone in their pocket. So how does the mechanism work exactly? Why does seeing other people's highlight reels make you feel worse about your own life? Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania identified what they call the compare and despair phenomenon. When you scroll through social media, you're not seeing reality. You're seeing a curated, filtered, optimized version of everyone else's life. And your brain treats it like objective truth. Here's the psychological trap. Your brain evolved to evaluate your status by comparing yourself to the people around you. This worked fine when people around you meant your village of 150 people. But now, you're comparing yourself to thousands of people, each showing their absolute best moments. The disparity is infinite. Your brain registers constant failure. You'll never be as attractive, as successful, as happy as the highlight reel versions you're watching. The University of Pennsylvania team ran an elegant experiment to prove this. They took college students and had one group limit social media use to 30 minutes per day for 3 weeks. The control group used it normally. The results were striking. The limited use group showed significantly reduced loneliness and depression. A 30-minute ceiling wasn't magical. It was just enough to break the comparison cycle. What's particularly revealing is that the benefits appeared in just 3 weeks. This means the damage isn't permanent. Your brain can recover. But it also means you're just one algorithm away from drowning in despair again. The moment you go back to unlimited scrolling, the compare and despair spiral reactivates. Social media platforms know this. They're betting you can't stay away. Let's connect these dots into a coherent picture of what's actually happening inside your head. First, platforms engineer dopamine-driven feedback loops deliberately. They're not neutral tools. They're addictive by design. Second, regular use correlates with measurable declines in mental health across large populations. Third, teenagers are particularly vulnerable because their prefrontal cortexes, the part that handles impulse control, aren't fully developed until age 25. Together, these facts paint a picture of an entire generation of brains being rewired by platforms optimized for engagement, not well-being. Companies like Facebook have billions of dollars and thousands of engineers working on one problem: how to make you spend more time on their platforms. You're competing against institutional resources designed specifically to exploit your neurobiology. The odds are stacked so dramatically that individual willpower is almost irrelevant. And here's the most disturbing part. We have no idea what the long-term neurological effects will be. Your brain is plastic. It changes based on what you do with it repeatedly. If you spend 4 hours a day on platforms optimized for distraction, you're literally rewiring the neural networks responsible for focus, deep thinking, and sustained attention. We might be creating a generation neurologically incapable of concentration. But there's good news hidden in this dark science. The University of Pennsylvania study proved that your brain can recover. The compare and despair phenomenon can be interrupted. The dopamine loops can be reset. You're not permanently broken by your social media use. You're just currently trapped in a system designed to keep you trapped. The key is understanding the mechanism so you can escape it consciously. If you internalized nothing else from this video, remember this. The University of Pennsylvania researchers proved that limiting social media to 30 minutes daily produces measurable improvements in mental health within 3 weeks. That's not a vague suggestion. That's a testable, replicable finding. You don't need to quit entirely. You need a hard cap. Set a timer. When 30 minutes expires, the app closes. No exceptions, no negociations. Second, understand notifications for what they are: dopamine triggers. Turn off every non-essential notification. Don't let the algorithm decide when you check your phone. You decide. The moment you feel the urge to open an app, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or because my dopamine system has been hijacked. Awareness is the first step toward agency. Third, create friction. If you're using Instagram on your phone, delete the app and only access it through a web browser. Make it annoying to use. The slight inconvenience will cause you to pause and ask if you actually want to be on it. You'd be shocked how much your problematic usage evaporates when you add just one extra step between impulse and action. Fourth, and most importantly, replace the time. Social media fills a void. You're using it because it's available and because it's engineered to be satisfying. But if you just remove it without adding something better, you'll experience genuine withdrawal. Fill those 30 minutes saved with something that actually builds well-being, reading, exercise, in-person conversation, creating something. Your brain needs rewarding activities, just not the ones optimized by billionaires. You now understand something most people don't. Social media isn't just taking your time. It's hijacking your neurobiology, distorting your self-perception, and contributing to a genuine mental health crisis. But you also know that recovery is possible. In 3 weeks of disciplined practice, your brain can reset. The compare and despair spiral can be interrupted. Your dopamine system can be recalibrated. You have more agency than you think. The platforms won't change because they're profitable exactly as they are. Regulation will come too slowly. Your only option is to change yourself, consciously, deliberately, with scientific understanding backing your effort. You're not being weak by struggling with social media. You're being rational by recognizing you're fighting a system designed by thousands of engineers to be irresistible. And you're being brave by fighting back. If you found this breakdown of the neuroscience fascinating, subscribe for weekly psychology insights that actually matter. We dive deep into how your brain works and how to use that knowledge to build a better life. Thanks for watching, and please do yourself a favor. Delete one app today.